Dear friends, in this session, we will be discussing on the product and the financial feasibility of a business. The types of feasibility studies has been classified as under that are product or service feasibility analysis, financial feasibility, market feasibility, technical feasibility, and the social feasibility. Introduction to product or service feasibility. The failure rate of new product introduction is very high. Some estimates that less than 20% of new products succeed. Do you truly understand the total investment needed to successfully launch your new project or product or a concept? Are the risks are too great? So to understand all these things, we need to understand the feasibility of a product before launching our product into the market. So product or service feasibility analysis is an assessment of the product or a service being proposed in the sense that it is what customer want and that it will have an adequate market. So product feasibility includes some of the factors like in the market, is there is a want or a need for the product which we are launching, or can or will the customer buy our product or service? Will it satisfy the market? Can it be made, or does it has any differentiation, or a low cost position can be acquired or not? And industry structure and organizational effectiveness, is the return will be adequate, and will it be profitable enough for whatever we are investing? Is the risk is acceptable by the business? Are we ready to accept whatever the risk is available in the market, and is it worth of satisfying the other needs? Will it support the company's objective and other factors? All these things we have to consider while we are launching any product into a market or a service. So what are the benefits of conducting a product or a service feasibility analysis? Getting the product right the first time. When we get to know whether the customer are ready to accept our product, is there any expected returns are profitable or not? So all these things, when we get to know, when we understand, instead of launching a product which may fail, we can get to know that whether our product may pass in the market or it will fail. So based on that only we'll be launching. So the first time itself, the product will become right. So next, a segment of customers emerges because the firms or individuals that participate in the feasibility analysis often become the firm's first customer. Here, we'll get to know whether the product is feasible or not from by giving a option for the customer to use it and try it, and let us know whether the product they are ready to accept this product or not, because of which we can get to know who can become our customer or not. So it is easy for us to understand our customer segmentation. We can target the customers properly, and the people who have used it, who have understood it, and who are ready to accept it, those people itself become our first customers. Next, by asking the prospective customers to test the usability of a product or the ease of use of a service, the firm avoids any defect in the product, service, or design. For example, assume you have to use some application which you have never used and you are using it for the first time. A company is launching it for the first time, and it will give give you for free, or it will give you for a trial for some sort of time. It is because they want to check your usability, whether after using the various features of that specific application, you will be rating about that application, you will give a feedback, and the company will get to know whether the people are accepting and what are the problems or issues the people are facing about that application usability. So it becomes easier for the company to understand what are the defects could happen in future, and the company will obviously avoid any kind of defects about the product, service, or design. The time and capital are used more efficiently because the entrepreneur has a better idea of what customer wants. Here, once you understand what actually the customer wants, or what price they are expecting, and what are the features and characteristics they are expecting from the a product or service, and what are the value they are expecting, when you understand all these factors, you will be having a better idea about the customer's wants and needs. Based on that only, you will be preparing your product and avoiding any kind of wastages which may happen knowingly or unknowingly, and that will lead to an efficient use of available resource, and you can use the time capital in a more efficient way. Next, the entrepreneur collects information about the need for additional products or services. When you are being an entrepreneur, when you are letting the people know that you are going to launch a product, and you are giving them a chance to use it as a trial or something, and then you will get to know that what the people are additionally expecting from your product. The people may be expecting something which you may not be knowing, and you may not have included in your product or services. When you get to know what the people are additionally expecting, you will definitely try to add up as much as possible and try to satisfy all the needs and requirements of the customers. That are the benefits of the conducting a product or service feasibility. Next, here you can see the analysis consists of two types of tests. One is that concept testing, other one is that usability testing. Well, the concept testing means that showing the product or service to prospective users to see their interest and purchase interest. Many businesses fail because they were started on a hunch. Some business idea sounds great in our head, but that does not mean they will become successful. It is never right to put your money into something without evaluating it. So when you are, as an entrepreneur, when you want to launch a product, a goods or a services, an experience of or an event into a market, you should be very careful about the people. The people, if they won't accept it, the people here means the customers. If the customer they won't accept it, then you though you have a great business idea, which may sounds great in your head, but the people may not accept it, and will be like it will not result in a great output. You will not get a great results. So it is very much important to understand the product service feasibility by doing this concept testing. Let's take an example of a big boss program. I think that all of you might be watching or have heard about that program in some social media or something. Now we'll take that program as a example here. Here, how will it be if instead of celebrities, common people participates? You might have seen that in Big Boss program, most of the people who are participating, the participants are celebrities. That would be from some TikTok background or a film industry background, or some serial background, or some singers, dancers, or something. Those people who are celebrities, they participate in a Big Boss program. How will it be if instead of the celebrities, the common people start participating? Will the viewers, the audience, will accept that program in the way that they accept it, and they encourage it in the when the celebrities are there? That is one that concept question arises here. Next, how will it be if the host of the program changes? If the host of the program, all of you may be knowing that in each region they have a different host. Like in our South India, different host. In every state they have a different host. In North India they have different hosts. So there are chances that we watch the Big Boss program because our favorite hero or our favorite heroine is the host for that specific program. But if the Big Boss direction team comes up with a different concept, saying that we are going to change the host of the program, will will the viewers, we as a customers accept it or not? Will be watching the Big Boss program or not? That is a concept testing. Next, how it will be if the participants are kept in a non-luxurious home? Will how this is a concept of a Big Boss. Okay, how we behave as a customers. If there are no viewers, there are no audience for the programs, there is no use of conducting a program, right? In the same way, these all things are the concepts the Big Boss direction team can come up, and they will check for some time, and they see what is the reaction of the audience, whether it is positive or negative. If it is a positive reaction, they will go with the concept. If the reaction is negative, they will avoid the concept. The concept testing help us to avoid anything which are not which the people are not ready to accept, and it will lead to avoidance of any kind of risk and losses. So next is that usability testing. Usability testing is a research to determine if some mass product or prototype or concept is convenient for its intended use. Here in the previous topic, in the concept testing, it is all about to see the interest and purchase intent of the people about the concept, but here about the convenience use of some product or prototype or a concept. Here, let's take an example of getting transported, getting food. That should be a getting food with tomato or Swiggy. When you want to order your food with the Zomato or a Swiggy website, placing an order, how would you use an application? You may use an application, you may go to an online, and there you can have an access, and you can place an order by filling whatever all details required, right? Later, reordering a past order. If you have already ordered some food previously, yesterday or sometime you had ordered the food and you want to reorder the same food, you will be having an option there to reorder. Using that. And next, changing your address. If you want to change your address, you had updated your office address or college address, now you want to update it to as a home address, you can do the changes. Also adding a new payment method, you can will be having multiple payment methods like paying online, paying cash on delivery, paying using the for mobile applications like the phone pay or Google Pay, etc. So all these things will be having an option for payment. Viewing the status of an order, you'll see that in Zomato and Swiggy you'll get an option to see the delivery person. It keeps on giving you a status update, and it shows that your food is being prepared, your food has been your order has been accepted by the restaurant. The food has been being prepared, and the Zomato valet has collected the food, and he's on the way for delivering the food. All these things, the direct on status of actual live status you can see, and you can follow the status about that. And next, contacting the customer support. Whenever you want to contact the customer relating to anything, you can easily contact. All these features will be having in applications or online, but how usable, whether you are able to use it, whether it is convenient for you, or you have a easy access to it, all these things, when you respond to it, you may come up saying that I'm unable to change the address. You may come up saying that I'm unable to track my order properly. So if you come up saying you are facing some issue, the company, it will help the company and organization to understand that this can be issue, so they can correct any kind of defects. So these are concept testing and usability testing are the major testing tools which can be used for understanding the product or service feasibility in a market. Next, we'll start up with a financial feasibility. The objective of financial feasibility is to assess the financial viability of the project. As we say, the finance is a blood of any business. Without the finance, we cannot start any business. Yes, it is most important tool for starting the business, and it is very much important we do have a proper knowledge and awareness about what we are doing with our money. So it is not like simply have crores of amount I will invest somewhere, whether I get a return or not like that, right? Every one of us, including me, you, or anybody, we spend our money, we invest our money with an expectation to get some kind of return. The objective of financial feasibility is to assess the financial viability of the project here. We want to know that whether we'll be getting a proper kind of returns, what could be our expenses, where I have to invest, what could be the sources of finance for me. All these things we have to evaluate before investing our funds. The decisions about the financial feasibility of a project should be arrived at based on the following considerations. The components of the financial feasibility study, such as companies' expenses, revenue, assets, liabilities, cash flows, etc. Next, factors to be considered. First, cost of the project. The cost of the project represents the sum of all items of outlay associated with a project which are supported by long-term firms. It is the sum of outlays on the land and site development, building and civil works, plant and machinery, technical know-how and engineering fees, expenses on foreign technicians and training of Indian technicians abroad, miscellaneous fixed assets, preliminary and capital issues, expenses, provisions for contingency, etc. What are all cost or expenses, the money which you have to spend for developing your project or for your product, everything includes under the cost. That could be for your material, for your transportation, for your production, the salary which you pay, the land and building, the location, the utilities you use, and the amount which you spend for that. It includes everything. It includes everything. The cost, overall cost of the project, you have to calculate before investing your amount. Next, you have calculated overall cost. Now you have estimated that for next 5 years, I may be requiring 15 lakh to if I start with this business. Now your cost of the project is ready, but do you know what could be the source of finance for you? Now, how will you bring your 15 lakh of amount for your business? That is what the means or source of finance is. The entrepreneur can depend on the share capital, terms, loans, debenture capital, deferred credit, incentive sources, unsecured loans, public deposits, and lease and hire purchase finance, etc. Like here, we have specified there are different sources of finance. You can go for a share capital. You can issue the debentures. You can go for a term loan from a bank or other non-banking financial corporations, or you can go for some source unsecured loans or public deposits, lease. You can go for a lease instead of buying a land. And if you buy a land, it will cost you more, and you will go for a lease or you go for a higher purchase, and it will cost you somewhat less. Instead of putting so much of amount, you try to avoid as much as possible, and you will select the source of finance based on what kind of cost of project you are going to incur. To determine the specific means of finance for a given project, an entrepreneur should consider the norms of regulatory bodies and financial institutions. Key business considerations, namely cost of risk, control, and flexibility of a financial plan. So here you have not only about what are the costs and what could be the source of finance, it also need the regulatory norms and the financial institutions, anything they have rules and regulations, everything needs to be considered. Like for our banking sector, we do have a Reserve Bank of India, which is a regulatory body. So like the Reserve Bank of India will be having so many rules and regulations to banking sector. It may increase the interest rate, it may decrease the interest rate. Definitely it will directly or indirectly going to impact on your business. So everything needs to be considered, and along with that you have to consider the cost of risk, control, and flexibility of a financial plan. Next, apart from those two, here you can see that another other factors to be considered. First, estimates of sales and production. An entrepreneur should have an idea about the estimated sales for the future and matching with the production. So unnecessarily, you shouldn't be like, I will produce 1 lakh units of some product today and I will sell it tomorrow. No, it won't happen like that. First, you have to see if there is a demand in the market, and will the people buy your product, and how much sales you can do per day. Based on that only, you have to decide on the production. You can't bring the all the resources, like human resource, the material, machines, everything, and keep it up to you, and without proper production, or without satisfying the demand, you could simply underutilizing it is also not good. So it is very much important to estimate the sales, and as per that you produce the product and supply it. Over production or under production, both are not good for your business. Next, cost of production. It is necessary to have a sensitivity analysis to compute the cost of production, which has a substantial impact on profitability or possibility of risk analysis. What is the cost of production? Cost of production is like overall cost which you are incurring to produce a product. That includes everything. That also should show you that it should give you some kind of profit and reduce any kind of risk. So here it is obviously always expected that cost of production should always be minimal, so that if we want to compete with our customer in our market, and we want to change any kind of prices, and it shouldn't be like we are compromising with our profit. So hence you'll be having two types of options to compete with your customer in the market. That is either to reduce your cost of production or reduce your profit margin. It is not good to reduce your profit margin, all of us know. So it is always expected to reduce the cost of production, so that the profit margin can remain good and we can recover our funds, whatever we have invested. Okay, so next, working capital requirements and its financing. So what is working capital? Working capital is a capital which is invested for our day-to-day working operations, business operations. So under the balance sheet right side, in assets, the current assets, whatever you see, are said to be the net working capital. When you are excluding the current liabilities from it, it becomes a the assets. The asset is said to be the current assets are said to be the gross working capital. When you are excluding the current liabilities from it, it becomes a net working capital. So it is very much important you should maintain a proper working capital requirements and its financing. You shouldn't have a over working capital or under working capital. Okay, you should have a proper what you say that optimum working capital, and use it as much as better as possible. The working capital is used to meet the cost of raw materials, rent for the building, electricity charges, postages and stationery, advertisement expenses, transport costs, commissions, insurance, indirect taxes, etc. Next, estimates of working results, that is profitability projections. You have to estimate the working results with the help of production and sales are very important. Like, you are working, you are doing your work, and based on that, what is your production and what is your sales? Will you going to make a profit or not? How much profit are you going to make? When you answer all these questions, you will get to know the profitability. You have to see the payment periods, expenses incurred, and other production costs, and you have to consider all this to estimate the working results. Next, break-even point. Cost, volume, profit analysis. Projection of cost and profit with respect to sale volume are also essential. What is your cost incurred and what is the profit you are receiving, and with the received profit, at what point you are going to recover all the cost which you have incurred, at what volume you are going to recover your invested cost. So that is what now to be a break-even point. That will definitely help you in a financial feasibility to understand that how much production I should do to recover whatever I have invested, and above whatever I produce will definitely make me get a profit. So that is one kind of factors to be considered. Next, projected cash flow statements and the projected balance sheets. You might be knowing that what is the cash flow statement. Is cash flow statement is a statement which includes cash from operations, cash from financing activities, cash from the investments. All this, when you consider what are the inflow and outflow of cash of in operations activities, in financing activities, like sources of finance, if you have invested in them, sorry, if you have taken some finance, or you have paid something like dividend interest to your financiers or something, or you have repaid the bank interest or something, all the two things comes under the financing activities. And under the investment which you have made on the long-term assets, or the in any investment which you have received. All these things will be considered while understanding the financial feasibility of your business or project. Next, projected balance sheet. It provides details of the assets and liabilities to be included. We'll get to know what are the assets, what are the liabilities, what are the long-term assets, what are the current assets, what are the long-term liabilities, and what are the current liabilities, whether are we making some profit or not, are we performing well or not, do we have the liquidity option, and if we are going for the close of a business, how will we repay our shareholders, and how will we manage to liquidate our organization. All these things we'll get to know from the factors of assets and liabilities. That hence we all have to consider all these things when you are preparing a financial feasibility. Hope that all of you have understood the concept of product feasibility and the financial feasibility. The remaining feasibility analysis will be continued in the upcoming sessions. Thank you.